I've changed my mind." I look to my side where Liam is slouched in the passenger seat of my ancient Jeep Cherokee. We just dropped off his brothers at my mom's place. They hadn't been too excited with the prospect of sitting in the bleachers at their brother's first soccer game of the season at 8:30 on a Saturday morning. Since I'm not comfortable leaving an 8 and a 13-year-old unsupervised, their grandma's place had been their only option. Let me tell you, getting my 3 boys out of bed at 6 on a weekend so we can hit the soccer field in bloody Bloomfield 15 minutes before game time, as instructed, is no mean feat. Theo, my oldest, had to be enticed with a soaked sponge over his face. It did the trick, got him out of bed, but with a foul temper. Harry, I couldn't even wake up, and I spent 10 valuable minutes wrangling him in clothes without his cooperation. I had to carry him to my car and again into my mom's house, where I dumped him on the couch. He may only be 8, but that's still a ton of deadweight to lug around. Liam, my middle child, was a little easier, seeing as he'd been excited about his first game, but apparently that shine is wearing off. "Suck it up, Buttercup," I tell him. "Out of the 8 games on the schedule, you only have 2 early ones. The rest are at a more civilized hour. You'll get used to it. You worked hard to make this team. Don't tell me you're giving up before you even get started." I bite back a reminder that I'd taken on a second job with a cleaning service so I could afford getting him enrolled, which was more than my regular tight budget could handle. He mumbles something I can't quite make out, and his posture still spells his displeasure, but he doesn't make a fuss. I'll take it. He's been moody as of late. That is, moodier than normal. Of all my kids, Liam is the one who was most affected when Jeremy bailed 5 years ago. He was 6 at the time and idolized his father, so he felt that betrayal deepest. Theo was 8 and had been too aware of what was happening in our sham of a marriage. He just seemed relieved the constant tension we lived under at the time was over. At 3, Harry had been blissfully oblivious, perfectly content to be wherever I was. But Liam, he felt it deep. It's one of the reasons I worked hard to make his dream of joining the soccer league come true. The other 2 have not expressed any interest in organized sports, but Liam craved it. I thought he might benefit from the team bonding, not to mention the male influence of a coach. He doesn't get much male exposure, other than his brothers. His teacher is a woman, and then there's his grandma and me, and we've turned avoiding men into an art form. "Eat your Pop-Tart, kid. You're gonna need the energy," I urge him. My lofty plans to make the kids egg sandwiches for breakfast flew out the window this morning, and I barely managed to throw a few quick things in a plastic bag for Liam. Parenting fail. Luckily, Mom can be trusted to take care of the other 2 with something far more nutritional. I know by the tearing of the wrapper he's doing as asked, and I wish I'd thought to throw an extra one in the bag for me. My stomach is rumbling. No coffee and an empty stomach make the prospect of sitting on the hard bleachers for a couple of hours even less appealing. I hope to God there's a coffee shop nearby so I can pop out and grab myself a little reinforcement. The hour drive is otherwise quiet, since Liam seems to have dozed off beside me. By the time we pull into the parking lot of the Chambly Soccer Complex, I can see from the volume of cars we're probably one of the last to arrive. Shit. Grab your gear. We're going to have to hustle. Apparently, the nap has done my boy well, since he doesn't argue and pulls his bag from the back seat before setting off for the field on a steady jog. I follow behind at a much more sedate pace. Parents and families fill the small bleachers on the sideline, and I scan the benches to look for an empty spot when my eyes land on a familiar face and the impressive body it belongs to. Dylan Barnes. A hard man to miss. Not that I've been trying.